Man, what a week on this faster than you Friday. Lots coming up. Is Pelosi going to be out of Congress? Man, that'd be something else if we could pull that off. No on 50. Make sure you get out those ballots in. Is AOC afraid of young men? This and much, much more. But don't F with Trump. And you probably won't hear the analysis like that, but we'll play the first clip. It's about Maduro and what's going on down in Venezuela. But Trump was really sending a signal, I believe, to someone else. Here we go.
Offers everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation. What should we do in order to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
So we'll get into it deeper here in a minute or two. Well, he did want to send a message to Maduro. That message was meant for someone else. And you probably won't hear the analysis anywhere else but right here on IE Newswire. Hillary Clinton had this to say about illegals.
As to illegal aliens, we agree with you that we do not think the comprehensive health care benefits should be extended to those who are undocumented workers and illegal aliens. We do not want to do anything to encourage more illegal immigration into this country. We know now that too many people come in for medical care as it is. We certainly don't want them having the same benefits that American citizens are entitled to have.
Hillary Clinton, we do not want to have those coming in from other countries, especially illegally, having the same medical benefits as Americans have. That is exactly what's happening today. California, Gavin Newsom led the way. $12 billion we're spending for health care for illegal aliens in California while we're in a budget crisis, not only in California, but nationally. Hillary Clinton said illegal aliens, those not citizens, should not have the same medical benefits as American citizens. Kind of sounds like Donald J. Trump. Oh, the irony of it all. Mike Johnson on the No Kings rally, and he's right. Who would have thought you would have brought all these groups together?
Now, tomorrow, the Democrat leaders are going to join for a big party out on the National Mall. They're going to descend on our Capitol for their much anticipated so-called No Kings rally. We refer to it by its more accurate description, the Hate America rally, okay? And I'm not sure how anybody can refute that. If you think about what's going to happen here tomorrow, you're going to bring together the Marxists, the socialists, the Antifa advocates, the anarchists, and the pro-Hamas wing of the far-left Democrat Party. That is the modern Democratic Party.
He's 1,437% right on that one. Who would have thought? And it took the Democratic Party of the United States of America to mold into and bring together and be the majority of Marxist, socialist, Antifa advocates, anarchists, and pro-Hamas. That's why I'm going with the 30-40-30 deal, because the Democratic Party is not only marginalizing itself into a minority party, and so are the Republicans for that. just so we're bipartisan in this. Hopefully, the 40% right now that's MAGA keeps expanding both ways, which they're doing, and becomes the overwhelming majority governing the United States into the future. None other than our good friend AOC. She's afraid of young men. And we'll roll the clip later. But as I say, ladies, you will rue the day that you turn men into women. More on this. The Schumer shutdown, as they said, is opening the eyes of Democrats nationwide. They're leaving in droves in the Democratic Party, and there's a C-SPAN caller we'll get to in a bit, explaining, I'm out of the Democratic Party because of the Schumer shutdown. And Schumer, if Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and his goofy hand gestures think they're winning, oh, glory be, keep her up. And El Presidente was right on in this when he was on with Maria Bartoloma. They made one mistake. They gave Trump, the Schumer shutdown has given Trump the power and the authority under the Constitution to get rid of a bunch of this wasteful, fraudulent, screwing us over, $2 billion deficits per year, $2 trillion deficits per year. It'd be great if it was only $2 billion. $2 trillion deficits a year, $36 billion in debt and counting. As Mike Lee said, Russ Vogt, Office of Management and Budget Director, he's been dreaming of this since puberty, and that just cracks me up to one end. Have you noticed the skies are clear? Marjorie Taylor Greene points that out. They're not spraying in the skies anymore, thanks to the Schumer shutdown. So as I say, keep her shut down. We'll all be better off. Rubio, we're trying to put in the United Nations, the UN, was trying to put in a tax mainly on America to pay for all their goofy wars and keeping us and stealing our wealth. Trump said no. Marco Rubio points out, Paris, California, is a town that started well over 100 years ago. And here, there's, back to that, there's some of the pictures of Paris, California back, I think, about 1920. Oh, sometimes you just wonder what if we could turn back the clock a little bit and really go back to a day, a much simpler and freer time. Chuck Conder, Riverside City Councilman, explaining his Tuesday night vote against the Clarissa Cervantes, two-time, who has pled guilty twice to driving under the influence, once while she was a Riverside City Councilman, a odious member trying to force the Riverside Police Department to go rat-fink on the ICE agents. On top of that, and even if you do that, $100,000, up to $100,000 of your money, your tax dollars, could be going to aid and abet illegal aliens. The ones Hillary Clinton said should not have the same health care or benefits or protections as those in the United States of America, and they do not have the same due process rights. They have some, not all, the due process rights of an American citizen. All you whiny attorneys, why don't you point that out? If a bowel movement had eyes. Oh, Lordy be. That one just cracked me up. I don't know if it does you, but boy, I don't think, if no truer words have ever been spoken, that's got to be in the top three. Nancy Pelosi with her little tirade on that. She had up at Capitol Hill with a question on J6. A lot more. Scott Wiener looks like he's not going to wait for Nancy to retire. He's going to challenge her in the primary if she runs in 26 for her congressional seat. That's going to take some really interesting twists. We'll be on that a little bit later on in the show. No on Prop 50 rallies are going all across the state of California. Get those ballots in. We need to get more freedom and liberty types, Republican, decline to say state, center right Democrats to get their ballots in on no on 50. We can win this. But we got to pick up our returning the ballots for our team. There's places all over going to be this weekend. Volunteers are needed. Get out the vote. Here, if you need help, training, if you can donate some time to knock on doors, draft emails, text, phone banking, ballot harvesting. There's the address, 19550 Markham Street in Riverside, 9 a.m. There you can be there. They will help you out if you're in the Inland Empire area. I'm sure if you look around, you can find many areas where this is. No excuses. Do not let, like they did at the Riverside City Council's latest, of them trying to impede ICE workers and trying to pit law enforcement officers against each other. After the fact is too late. Well, majority of us didn't show up down to Riverside City Council. We, the few that were trying to help Chuck, and eventually Robillard and Perry, who voted against it, we were outgunned again, 3, 4, 5 to 1. We cannot allow this to happen ever again for any time on that. How to register to vote. Monday is the last day that you can send in, register of that until election day, and then you will be able to register if there's a polling place or your register of voters after Monday. Then it goes to November 3rd or 4th, whenever election day is. And after Monday, then we'll have like a 2-week break, and then you will only be able to register on election day. So if you haven't registered, get your registration in. You can do it online. There's just, go check it out. Secretary of State Register of Voters, voteinfo.net here at Riverside County. I don't know which one's in San Bernardino, but sos.gov.ca.gov, I think it is, for the state. However, they will show you and get you registered in. Get that in by Monday, because if you don't, then it's election day is the last opportunity you will have if you are not registered to vote. And that is very important. We'll pick up on these stories we previewed and much, much more on this Faster Than You Friday. Yes, it is. The Pelosi story is really intriguing. Scott Wiener, the odious state senator, all the woke legislation, no parental notification. No, it shouldn't be a felony to sex traffic 16 and 17-year-olds. He was actually fighting that for everything, but eventually, with the great help of State Senator Shannon Grove from up there in Bakersfield, we got that knocked out. But he's going to challenge her whether she gets in or not. It was always thought, and he may be termed out in 26, maybe on his Senate seat. But he's actually thinking of or putting out a lot of strong suggestions. He's going to challenge Nancy Pelosi, and he just might win. They thought Christine, her daughter, was going to take it over, but they found out through polling Scott Wiener would dust her in politically. I don't think she's got to worry about the normal way. But he's actually putting out and he will probably, if he runs against Pelosi, I think he'll beat her up there in San Fran. Now, there's no way. I don't even know why you waste your time. It's like it's like 80% Democrat registration in that district. So there's no way possible Republican can win that seat. Not until we get enough people in that we can get control of this redistricting thing pronto, as it should be. But that's going to be one of the intriguing things after Nancy's meltdown of the reporter's question on J6 that's been going through. But this might be why Scott Wiener thinks he's got a chance. I believe so, because even, and again, the secret MAGA operation is let them speak. And this is one reason why.
Are you at all concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you. Congresswoman Pelosi, go ahead. Are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable? Refuse the National Guard on January 6th.
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
I think Nancy, along with a lot of other people, are nervous, and that gets to of what's going to happen with all the indictments and stuff coming down. It's going to be very interesting in the investigations, and it looks like Pam Bondi, finally Department of Justice, is cracking the whip. Bolton, the last to get indicted. Congress is talking about having new J6 hearings, basically to figure out if Trump asked for the National Guard to be sent in and Nancy Pelosi blocked it, then she's going to be in a heap of trouble. Now, Nancy's got a temper, and she's prone to snap, but she usually doesn't snap at reporters like that. And again, that screams guilty all over her face. But back to the Moderno question in Venezuela that Trump got. And I'll tell you why, and you're probably not going to hear this analysis anywhere else but here. But I'll tell you why. Moderno already got the message. He's not going to F with Trump. When he said that, and the way that press conference went, this message Trump sent today was intended for somebody else. But here it is again.
Bring mediation. What should we do to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Notice how Donald J., right at that time, he got the question about Moderno in Venezuela. He said he doesn't want to F around with the United States. He said, thank you very much. The press conference is over. That message was intended for Vladimir Putin. Remind you, he met with Zelensky of Ukraine today, who popped off, what, about a year ago or 6 months ago to Trump, and Trump said, you're not holding any cards, get the F out of here. Since then, Zelensky has been saying, yes, sir, no, sir, what do you want, sir, Mr. President? That message of do not F around with the United States was directly intended for Vladimir Putin. This goes back to Reagan with the Gorbachev and all that. The Russians were scared. They always had in their back of mind that crazy Ronald Reagan may flip the trigger and we're all going to be in trouble. They've got the same 90% he won't, but there's that 10% chance Trump may do the same thing. And since everything's done, Hamas war, the one in Ethiopia, all the other conflicts, what, there was 7 or 8. Let's say there was 8, I think. We're down to 7. The only one left is Ukraine and Russia. And he met with Zelensky today, and that question came up. And you can never read somebody's mind 100%. But I'm going to say with a 98.7% certainty, this man right here, when he said he knows do not F around with the United States, which Moderno knows that. He's already given it up, like Trump said. He's already said, we're no. What do you need? What do you need, Donnie? How can we do this out? Where do I got to go? Where am I going to be exiled to, or whatever? That I'm not going to be a dead man, and we'll all say "Ollie, Ollie, oxen" and go on. No, when he said that, that was a signal to Putin. Hey, I want this Ukraine-Russian war over. I don't want to be dealing with it anymore. I want it chalked up on my scorecard. One of my campaign promises, this was done, this would be done. You're still screwing around with this, Putin. Don't. Let's play it again, Sam, one more time.
To stop that.
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
And that's why he abruptly ended the press conference right there. Because he didn't want follow-up questions on what this and that. He didn't want it to trail off. Trump is a master communicator strategist. And you can love him or hate him and all that, and I get that. Everybody's got their own likes and dislikes. But Trump knows what he's doing. He's not Joe Biden like, what did you say? Oh, I'm going to whisper that. At least it makes me, and I know a lot, probably an overmajority of the American citizens, rest easy at night, knowing Donald J. is our president of the United States, and he's not going to allow anyone to F around with us or anyone else for that matter. Some of the interesting features, and we've said, we've warned the ladies, be careful what you wish for. You're going to rue the day when you turn men into women. And I got to give it to her. At least she's given it the college try and trying to do it. This is what the establishment, the UN and all these Soros and Klaus Schwab and all that, this has always been their goal, is to emasculate, cut the nuts off all the boys, Then you don't have to worry about them potentially raising a ruckus over your control plans. So they use tools like AOC to run that. It's like Pelosi and everyone else, Schumer, Obama, they're running scared. So this is AOC on CNN.
And they are able to radicalize and target and exploit a generation of young boys, in particular, away from healthy masculinity and into an insecure masculinity that requires the domination of others who are poorer, browner, darker, or a different gender than them.
Notice the racism and what they're afraid of. This is, oh, what do Democrats have to do to improve their social messaging? Because young males especially, and especially Mexican, Hispanic, Latino men and Black men, are moving to the MAGA party, not Republican MAGA. Because they can look up to a Trump, they can look up to a strong male figure, like Trump says, don't F around with us. You know, that's what the retarded population was put on this earth to do. You were put on this earth to have and raise kids and be the emotional support and all that. Not saying that you can't be the, but I mean, but, you know, that's nature. Deal with it. You trying to change it means you want to be in control. You want to be in charge of the plantation. You want everyone else to be a slave and subservient to you.
And that is why they are resonating online, because they are appealing to the most basest and worst parts of human nature to divide.
Yeah, it is the basic human nature, Missy. And that will not divide us. That's what brought us together. That's what made the United States of America the greatest country in the history of the world. And not a tin horn dictatorship, Moderno run, Putin, Mao, Stalin, Hitler, everything else, Missy. What is the old saying? Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, AOC. Quit trying to shove the unnatural and make it the natural. This is, the old adage, you tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. And what Goebbels said, Hitler's head guy, I think it was him, says what's even more dangerous and sinister is you tell the lie long enough and even you become to believe it. And that's what we see a lot all across the board. And she is a personification of that. Hillary Clinton, 30 some years ago, 10 years ago when she ran for president, said the same thing. Said the same thing as Donald Trump is doing today and saying today. And what the Democrats are trying, the Schumer shutdown is all about. They want to give health care to people in the country illegally. Hillary Clinton said that in 93 through 2016. No, Hillary Clinton, not Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton running against Donald Trump said that in 2016. Said if you want to be a citizen, come into this country legally, learn English, accept our culture, pledge your allegiance to the United States of America, the American flag, not the Russian flag, not the Mexico flag, not the China flag, or whatever, to the United States of America. Go through the process legally and welcome aboard, new United States citizen. You are now part of the greatest country in the history of the world. Not, we're going to bring Mexico, China, and Russia to the U.S. Go screw yourself. Stick it up your ass. Don't F around with us like Donald J. said. Because you ain't going to like the result. Men got to start being men. Women got to start being women. And that's not sexist or trying to put your thumb on that. It's nature. What's the old commercial? You can't fool Mother Nature. Better dig that up somewhere. Because it's absolutely true. But we shall see. I think the ding-dongs are losing. We pointed out. We'll go through that more for the rest of the show. They're going to get their victories. They still might get a victory here in California on Prop 50. We'll see. We'll see if we on the no side can dig down deeper the last 2 weeks and start getting some
About 30 seconds, Roy.
Of that. And
what a view to come in on. Boy, she's probably used to that view right there. That's
I stopped that at the right point, didn't I? Oh man, we're having a little fun on this Faster News Friday. We'll join the Mighty Met KMET here in a few seconds.
Right, here we go, 10 seconds.
For those who support America, patriotswitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air. The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
That's our the slide guitar music. Comes in every Monday through Friday live at 5:30 in the Mighty Met, 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the 4-inch AM band. Join our vast video audience in the EWP Network, Rumble, X, YouTube. Check us out. Subscribe, do all that good stuff. On that, Donald J., the man, the legend, 45th and current 47% President of the United States of America, and maybe working himself as the greatest of all time. He said, don't F around with the United States of America. And it was a question about Moderno, but as we did, and if you haven't, if you've been on joining us from KMET, go back, look on the social media networks or archives and play and watch the segment on Donald J. Not the first one, but then after we go through the deal, about 15 minutes in. Because that's signal. Moderno of Venezuela already know. He's cutting a deal to get out. Don't kill me. Where am I going to be exiled? So you won't hear from me again. I'll live my life out in luxury. Well, I'll move on. When he said that, and he abruptly ended the press conference in that point, that message was sent to Vladimir Putin of Russia saying, hey, I want this war with Ukraine over. So the last one I got on my plate on this deal in the wars, I want it done. Don't F with me, Putin. That's who that message was set for. And you will not get that. I bet you will not get that analysis anywhere except with Roy on IE Newswire. We ran AOC, why she's afraid of young men and that whole thing. Sean, back at KMET, loved the picture we had of her at the time, but that's another good segment for you to check out sometime over this weekend when you got a few minutes going back and forth. But it's been one heck of a ride. Nancy Pelosi may have a strong challenger for Congress, Scott Wiener, not that it's going to be any better, but her whole little pissy tirade she had up there about the question on Jan 6, and she told the reporter to shut up. Scott Wiener's actually making a lot of noise. He may challenge her if she doesn't quit. It's always figured when she quit, he was going to run, and he's the odious California state senator with bad legislation. It's either got Corey Jackson or Scott Wiener's name on it. But he's looking at running and challenging her. And I bet you if he does, I bet she knocks her out. I'm giving better than 50-50. If it's Pelosi versus Wiener, I'd bet money today on Scott Wiener. I think she's running scared, and a lot of them, Trump and the team, Pam Bondi and stuff's getting on board, getting the indictments, Bolton, the latest one. They're talking about having a real Jan 6 committee to look into all the stuff. I think they're running scared. The rats are abandoning the ship, like AOC and everybody else. Fetterman's probably the smartest one. We all had questions about him because he had that disability, which seems to be going away in his casual dress, which I'm not necessarily against if you've ever seen me about 111% of the time. But he's making noises that he's going to dump the Democratic Party. He says, I can't go along with this stuff. Again, I don't think he wants the stink of the newly Democratic Party, as Mike Johnson said. Who else with this No Kings thing coming up on Saturday, tomorrow, who else could have brought together, and the Democratic Party is morphing into the party of Marxist, socialists, Antifa advocates, anarchists, and the pro-Hamas party. I think he is spot on in his analysis on that, and great for him. This one, and to prove this point, with the Schumer shutdown and everything, this is a caller calling into C-SPAN. And Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries think they're winning this deal. I don't think so. All the sentiment I see is they're not. All the polling results, the comments. This was a caller calling into C-SPAN explaining why she's leaving the Democratic Party.
I think I'm going to be leaving the Democrat Party because this happens this happens too often where they're blaming the opposite party when they know they can do the right thing. They need to do the right thing and reopen this government instead of keeping it shut down like they're hijacking the American people. I've seen it before. We've seen them vote the right way when they're in power. So why the hell can't they vote the right way when they're not in power? So get this government back open, get the American people what they deserve.
What the gentleman doesn't realize is they want power over you. It's not about help. We remember the old Congressman Rush used to play, "We're just here to help you." He was Speaker of the House. Heck, I can't remember his name right now. "We're just here to help you." Oh, they toss you a cookie and then hope that will calm you down. You'll quit stomping and screaming, and then they will go on and to control the rest of your life. And I think especially the younger generation, and I agree, they've been screwed. They're seeing it. We have no opportunity. That's what I say. It breaks my heart. The generation coming, you don't have the opportunity I had and my generation had. You can't afford a house. Hell, you can't afford a car. A car today just went over the average. That means 50% of the cars are sold for more than this. The average price of a car sold in America just went over $50,000 a year. I don't know, what do we sell? 8-10 million cars a year? The average price is over 50 grand. It wasn't that long ago you could buy a house for 50 grand. Now a house costs you and you could buy a new car for 10. Now it's 50 grand for a car, 500,000 for a hovel, which means a shack, the old tar paper shack if you want to go back to the Dish Van Gogh days. They're doing it through inflation and all the stuff of killing you. Like we had the example 60 years ago when we took all the 90% silver quarters out, and the minimum wage was $1.25 an hour. 5 quarters. Today, those 5 quarters are worth, well, just because silver went up, almost $40. Almost 45. Is your minimum, even in California with our, $16, $15 an hour? You're 3 times under the hole than you were in 1964 or 5. If you had 5 64 or earlier quarters, the silver in them worth is about 40 to 45 bucks, and I'm giving it, and it's probably going to 50 plus. But that's what you were working for, minimum wage, $1.25 an hour. Even in California, you had 3 times, 300% more purchasing power working at minimum wage 60 years ago than you have today. And just to go to president, this is what, and I don't get why they think but I'm encouraging them, Schumer and Jeffries, if they think they're winning with the Schumer shutdown, keep her going. When your opponent is destroying themselves, do not get in their way. The first law of holes. When you're in one, stop digging. They never learned that. But the other law, Roy's law of holes, is if your opponent's digging himself into the ground in a hole, you hand him more shovels. In fact, you hire him an excavator so they can dig faster. Here's El Presidente on with Marina Bartiromo, Fox Business. Here we go.
Well, Chuck is, at the end of the line. He's being beaten by everybody that they poll against. I don't think it matters to him. I think he's just so dead that he'll do anything. They made one mistake. They didn't realize that gives me the right to cut programs that Republicans never wanted, giveaways, welfare programs, etc. And we're doing that, and we're cutting them permanently. We're cutting a $20 billion project that Schumer fought for 15 years to get.
This is what I was advocating for back in April when they didn't shut down the government. I said, let them do it. As Senator Mike Lee from Utah said, Russ Vought, our current Office of Management Budget guy, has been dreaming of this since puberty, which cracks me up. But anyway, now Russ Vought's going, he in red pencil, oh, we don't need this, fire this, get rid of that. Studying the sex habits of whales off the coast of Africa. Oh, we can cut that out. And on the list goes. They're empowering Donald J., which is absolutely fabulous. And they're not even winning the war. They're losing the war in the court of the public opinion. It's the old song, happy days are here again. And as we pointed out, as Marjorie Taylor Greene pointed out, go look up in the skies. They're not spraying us anymore. How many years is this adding on to our lives expectancy? That they're not spraying this poisonous crap up in the air. We have a lot to look forward to. They stopped, and we did that. Trump stopped the UN tax they were trying to impose on the United States, the United Nations. We need to get out of that scurrilous organization, as in yesterday. We all had Tuesday night, the main focus here locally in the Inland Empire was the ordinance Clarissa Cervantes put before, she's a councilman, Ward 2, twice pled guilty to drunk, DUI, once at .15, which means you're totally S-faced. Second time while she was a councilwoman of Riverside, going through banning, she proposed an ordinance of, those ice ages that are going around. Soil and Green, go check out the movie. They're going through with loaders and stuff and just scooping people up off the streets, throwing them in the garbage truck and driving off. We never know where they go. Well, we know what happened in Soil and Green, know what happened to them. Go watch the movie. That was back when I was a kid and what it actually did go. Well, when you went to the movie theater. Or the drive-in. I like drive-ins better than the theaters, but whatever. That's what the deal. Oh, Ice Age is doing this, and we're gonna get the Riverside cops to go think on them. The more even of that, and let's just set aside that issue at the time. Against the Queen of the Democratic Party, the heiress. You got to kiss my rear end, Hillary Clinton, who said these people in our country, illegally especially, do not deserve the same health care or any other benefits as American citizens. Well, they voted to give up to $100,000 to help those in this country illegally to stay in this country illegally. You cannot make this stuff up. As Chuck Condor pointed out, these are some of the faces that have been arrested in Riverside by ICE. Dangerous criminals of the worst kind. And Clarissa Cervantes, Phil Falcone, Sean Mill, and Steve Hemingway voted to have Riverside cops go fink out the ICE agents and give $100,000 to the illegals to keep them in this country illegally. You cannot make this kind of stuff up. Anyhow, anyway, for any purpose. Here's what Chuck wrote on Wednesday. Yesterday, I shared on Tuesday night, why I voted against the city council resolution that attempts to block ICE from locating, arresting, and deporting criminal illegal immigrants in River City. Some who are angry with me for taking this stand are claiming that ICE is not going after dangerous criminals illegally in our country. I mean, this is ridiculous that he even has to write this. This is a false narrative that needs to be corrected. Chuck is exactly right. Here are 3 recent examples, as we showed you the pictures of the individuals, of dangerous and violent criminals who preyed on the innocent in Riverside that ICE has thankfully apprehended. These are the ones, council members. Ward 2, Clarissa Cervantes. Ward 1, Phil Falcone. Ward 5, Sean Mill. Ward 7, Steve Hemingway, voted to protect. And in fact, put money behind them to protect them. And in fact, put Riverside police officers in direct confrontation with federal law enforcement officers. It's horrendous. Chu V is an illegal immigrant from Laos, convicted of attempted murder and 7 counts of assault with a deadly weapon that produced great bodily injury. It's here in Riverside. See if we can get this thing to quit going crazy on me. Shamil Machado Gonzalez is a criminal illegal immigrant from Cuba and gang member convicted of vehicle theft, burglary, receiving stolen property, kidnapping, and threatening a crime with intent to terrorize here in Riverside. Mario Vasquez, or Velasquez, a criminal illegal immigrant from Mexico, previously convicted for possession of controlled substance in Indio, sexual battery in Riverside, DUI involving alcohol and drugs in Desert Hot Springs, resisting an officer, and multiple counts of assault with a deadly weapon that produced great bodily injury, also here in Riverside. These are not good people. They should not be on our streets. They should not be in our community. They should not be in our country. I'm thankful ICE found them and arrested them. I hope you are too. Condor, and I bet from my reading of it, those who have commented posted by a 2-to-1 margin, and probably more. People have agreed with Chuck Condor's position. And I also want to thank Ward 3, Steve Robillard, and Ward 6, Jim Perry, for voting no with Chuck Condor. But he did pass 4-3. But again, at least you know where people stand. And for that, it's a good thing. You know, I mean, the good part of it, or of Clarissa's resolution, is now you can clearly see the lines drawn coming for the upcoming elections and what they really stand for. The good news is we have 3. All we need is 1 more. It's going to be important. What, 2 and 6, Jim Perry's retiring. He voted for. Clarissa's running for state assembly. So those 2 will be open seats. Chuck's going to be rerunning. He's in Ward 4. So we got to keep Condor in. Got to get Ward 2. Ward 2. 6, hopefully we got a good candidate running there. Ward 2. And I'm telling you, all you guys, Jason Hunter, Chuck Condor, Haas, who ran the last time, and everybody else, Keith, all you guys got to sit in a room and figure out who you're going to back. None of this, I'm going to do this. We need to hold Chuck's seat and get 2 and 6. Now we're cooking on gas. If we can hold Robillard, now we're on the 4-3 side. Now they got to try to take it from us. So these things are important. These issues are important. Your vote is important. It matters. Get out there and get Ballot harvest, harangue your friends and relatives, get those no on 50 votes in. If you need help, it's out there. Here in Riverside. If you need, get signature drive, get them in there. If you need help this Saturday, 9 a.m., 19550 Markham in Riverside. They will train you if you want help to go door to door, draft emails, phone banking, lists, anything you can do to help. No excuses. No, I need to trim my toenails today. No, we got 2 weeks. Bump up this voter outreach, collect the ballots. The rats are doing it. Running even with them. We got to outturn them because we have such a deficit on the center right here. And then especially the independents or no party preference, they're really lagging behind. We're matching the Democrats, but they've got a plus what? 20 registration on us. This is a special election, low turnout. Turnout will determine this election. Are we going to let the odious unions, the Gavin Newsoms, the Scott Wieners, the Corey Jacksons outflank us again? We got 2 weeks or so to get this job done. It's very doable. But you got to get off your assets and get out there and do a little work. That sacrifice pales into comparison to the 1.5 million people who have fought, bled, and died to give you the greatest country in the history of the world that your shiny ass is sitting in right now. So enough with the old cliche, dog ate my homework. There'll be plenty of time for that when we get this stuff all straightened out, when we did have plenty of time to do all the fun stuff. And you actually did. You look forward to going to your job because it was enjoyable, not a headache. Not a hassle, not somebody breathing down on your neck, or if you're a business owner, the 400,000 people just either trying to put you out of business or regulate or do a bunch of stupid things instead of delivering the best product to your customer at the cheapest price or service or whatever. Just like down at Riverside. Again, they outflanked us 3, 4, 5, 6 to 1. In public comments. That should not be happening. It should not ever happen again. Not at the Sewer Cleaning Commission, not at the City Council of Riverside, not at the Assembly or State Senate or anywhere else. Sprint cars and stock cars will be at Paris Auto Speedway or anything else. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend. Go out and do something fun, please. Something fun will be getting some ballots for no on 50. Your future will love it. Take it away, Sean.
All right, Roy. Well, have a good weekend.
You got it.